Hi, welcome back to My Cup of TV with Jenny, JD,
Erin,
and Kat.
Full House. Hey, everybody's here. So, because everyone's here, we can do a request that we were waiting to do till we were all here, which is from Mira, and it is Spring Day.
it's not a sugar one.
From Mira. But Sugar is there, right?
He's there. But yeah, it's a Spring Day. This is
Because
awesome.
we haven't really... have they played it at the club night, Spring Day?
Yes. I think, yes.
Okay.
Yes, they have.
But I know they did it at the online concert, but that was when they decided to boot us out and then let us back after they'd done it. It's like they knew and they're like, no.
God, it feeds into her insanity, doesn't it? Yeah, but I like it because it's even more so. They were like, oh my God, like you're not even going to give us a preview.
Yeah. So, Spring Day.
Yes, very good. Happy this is requested because this is a big one. It's very significant. It's very important for ARMY and for BTS. So obviously, whenever we had someone missing, we didn't want to do it. What I recommend is that I'll tell you sort of little bits about it, but then if we watch it, see what you guys get from it, and then afterwards, I'm pretty sure there's an explanation video about all of the sort of meanings in it, things like that. Which again,
cultural.
Yeah, there can become some cultural stuff, big stories behind that, and I don't want to ruin it. I don't think I won't explain it as well as them, so we'll let them do it. But yeah, it'd be interesting as well because, you know, sometimes like they take you on a journey, like you'll get that initial face value of what it makes you feel, and then actually when you learn more behind it and the stories and the reason it was written, and then you watch it again and you're like, oh my God, it hits differently now. And I think that's really interesting to have that before and after perspective. So, but it's standalone. It's a beautiful song. So it's early 2017. It was on their You Never Walk Alone album, which is an extension repackage of Wings, and it's just really beautiful. It's it's a really, really lovely song.
I'm really confused because it's...
What? Because the name Spring Day sounds happy?
Oh, is it not happy? I don't know.
It is. Well, spring in, and again, apologies if I get this wrong.
It sounds to me like an uplifting one. Spring Day.
Well, it can be. It can be. So spring in Korea is when you get a lot of cultural people talking about when the flowers are going to blossom again.
Oh, do they get the cherry blossoms?
That's it, cherry blossom.
Yeah.
So when the flowers blossom again, when spring will come, and it's talking about that's a refresh, that's a fresh start for everyone. So look forward to the day when spring comes, when the flowers are in blossom again. So it's kind of like that feeling. It's like an old, not an old wives' tale or saying.
I kind of decided that the video was going to be in spring and they'd all be surrounded by like
running
really,
through fields of flowers. Is that
yeah,
what you thought?
pretty much like really like glossy light. But now it made me think it's going to be in like the desolate winter and they're dreaming of like there's one like little like dying little flower.
Again, like I said, there's so many meanings in it. It's actually it's a really genius song and MV from BTS again, where it's just layered with so much stuff, and then you're just like, wow, there's so much in it. But I don't want to do that I probably won't explain it as well as it's, you know, so much in there. So just watch it on face value, see what it makes you feel and what you pick up, and then afterwards we'll watch the explanation video and get into it more. But as a standalone song, it's really lovely. It's very sweet.
I do love your explanations though. They're my favourite ones.
I'm not quite DKTV, shout out to you. They do.
JDTV.
It'll be like what's it called when the discount version of DKTV. If you can't afford them, come to me.
I think it's because you tailor it to what Erin wants to know.
Oh, okay.
And the key thing is DKD, whatever they are, they can't answer back to me through YouTube.
I know, right? I envy them.
They ban you from their comment section.
Yes. I have some questions. List them all out. Maybe I'll try that. I wonder if they would get back to me.
So please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Over on Patreon, we've set up new tier systems. So there's now a Stray Kids tier, a BTS tier, a K-pop tier. Just go and have a look, see if there's anything over there for you. And
which is very nice of you to do, I must say. Because as we're getting into more and more content, you know, if you just want the BTS stuff, you can just have that. Or as we explore new bands and whatnot, you can have all of it. Join us on that journey. Which, they're worth it, by the way, because some Stray Kids and some Shiny is all good. Mm-hmm. And our girls Blackpink.
And we'll be adding in TXT at some point.
Yeah, of course. There's so much. The list is so long. So many more rabbit holes to come.
Oh, I missed the bloop. Oh, so it's winter.
Of course
it might be sad, don't worry. You'll be fine.
Wait, are we talking like I need you level
Don't
sad?
go, God, that's not safe.
Looks like a disused. No.
No.
What do they say? Don't play on the train tracks.
Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen.
Are you kidding me?
It's fine, nothing's gonna happen.
It's a disused train track.
It's not. He can hear the train coming.
Oh, I like that jumper.
Oh. This bit I remember.
Yeah. Big written on his face when he'd fallen asleep.
I've done that many times to people.
Don't you wish you could do that? Travel on top of a train?
With J-Hope.
Yeah. Doesn't it look beautiful? You know, pink-haired Jimin is dangerous. They all look so soft and like lovely.
I've never seen Jimin not dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. First impressions of that?
I love the song.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Did she cry?
Does it make you sad for some reason?
Yeah, I think they need to come with like trigger warnings for suicide.
They do acknowledge topics which in Korean culture are usually not spoken about as openly, which is brave of them to do so because they are saying that this is something we should talk about. But I think they do try and do it in an artistic way, but yeah, it can catch you off guard and then you're like, oh, because
I do agree with that, though, the idea of a trigger warning, because for some people that's very close to home, and if you're watching something you wouldn't expect it to come up in, it could hit you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should think of that and say that before.
Yeah,
sorry, but at the same time, I don't want to ruin it because I
think I need a trigger warning for it.
Okay,
It depends on your interpretation of it as well.
Yeah. It's true, yeah. And I knew that you didn't see anything bad happen to him. And again, like, I liked your interpretation. You were saying that could have been an abandoned train tracks.
Yeah,
like he's just,
like
you know, so it didn't have.
it.
But I know there was the sound of a train. So
you're still thinking about it, and then like at the beach, there's the shoes left because, you know, generally people take their shoes off and walk in with their clothes.
From what I've read, that's not what that is.
And you're right. So we can do that.
Tree. Like, I'm sure there's like so many meanings, and I absolutely love that they talk about it. I genuinely do. I just think, and the same with I Need You, those things, they just, I find it really difficult to see. But that's a good thing, in a sense.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Little warning up front.
I find it really difficult then to see anything past that straight away.
Yeah.
And I've only just started hearing like I Need You again, and not like freaking out.
Let's talk about that. I mean, the song itself could be a breakup song.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got the feeling of, first I went through it's a breakup song, the idea that the winter is that initial heartbreak over the breakup, and the spring is what you're looking forward to, as to either you think you can get back together, or where you're gonna, it's not gonna hurt so much and you can start moving on. But then at the end with the shoes in the tree, that made me think of more grief, that maybe you've lost someone, and what you're talking about is grief and coming out the other side, knowing that it hurts now and it'll always hurt in a way, but you will eventually be able to not move on but function better, and it won't be as raw.
Be more at peace.
Yeah, the fact they all got together at the end with the shoes as well made it think that maybe they've all lost someone together, like a friend or something.
I liked Sugar's line, where he was saying like,
I think I know the one
it's too hard, so I'll erase you rather than deal with it. And
that's what I thought. And I'd rather than blame you.
Yeah,
I thought,
that was. I don't know. It's just really, I think it's a lot, and I absolutely get. Oh, it's making me really emotional. And I can really understand that. Yeah. And in lots of scenarios, because that is, when you break up with someone, that's a stage of like that's a long grief process, and lots of other things as well where you grieve, and anger. It can often as well be like you don't want to.
I got the feeling from the song as well that it's a breakup where there isn't exactly a villain. No one's the bad guy. So, because you know, for some breakups, like you get a lot of breakup songs. The one that always comes to mind for me is Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like an angry one, where you're angry at that person. Whereas in a lot of breakups, it just doesn't work, and so the person isn't a bad person. You're not a bad person, and it's that kind of pain of I can't be angry at you because there's nothing to be angry about.
No, you've just got to accept it eventually. Yeah. It's almost easier when somebody does something bad
exactly,
to you.
because you've got that anger to get you through that bit, because you can blame them.
And closure, you've got a reason.
Yeah.
Whereas when you don't have a reason, it's
there's
hard.
that. A lot of people go through a breakup and there's that self-blame. Whereas when someone's done something wrong, you can at least be angry at them, and in a way you protect yourself with, well, it's not my fault because they did that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, all good interpretations, and none of those are wrong. So it's pretty good.
Visually stunning.
Beautifully artistic,
Scenery,
wasn't it? Yeah. There is, obviously we'll get to watch, and again, this is what I really enjoy, is in there's meanings that they bring from the video and the journey they take you on in there, but then the song is a standalone, and then also live performances. There's choreo that goes with that, and it's lovely. So it's really, really nice, and it's very touching on, obviously way earlier than Black Swan, touching on more modern dance as well, which is really nice.
Also, just thinking back to the video, I don't think it's what it meant or anything, but when you think about it, there was that whole thing of like a party, wasn't there? Mm-hmm. It was like RM's birthday or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're grieving their youth. I grieve mine.
Well, that was a big theme on You'll Never Walk Alone, so that's not wrong.
That candle just like burning down and everyone's just watching it like your life is just ticking away in front of you. Oh God,
it's so depressing.
It gets worse and worse. One thing I will say, any excuse for them to trash a hotel room.
I want to see it behind the scenes.
They're just love, and they threw the cake.
I want to see it hit.
You want to see it smash, and it cuts off right before, and you're like, no.
Is there a behind the scenes that the making of?
Did it actually hit him?
Yeah, there must be. Yeah.
Or was that CGI? Did they actually throw a cake at him? Please tell me.
Do you know? I don't know. It's been
BTS.
so long since I've looked at any of that.
There's no way they're going to say CGI. They're going to no, please let them throw the cake.
It wouldn't be. We'd be doing our fans a disservice.
They probably
leader of the group if we didn't get to throw a cake at your face.
Genuine.
They did rock paper scissors to decide who got to throw it, guaranteed, because they all wanted the job.
Yeah, that's true.
They all look stunning.
Who's got the best aim? They did.
Like you say, pink head Jimin.
Yeah, in that blue
Sugar
cardigan.
in that pink jumper.
Mm-hmm.
I really
they all
like
looked really soft.
Their jumpers.
And I think purposefully for that, it was a real sense of vulnerability with softness, both of like their the camera of their skin, and then also all these big snuggly jumpers, all these soft fabrics. Yeah. There was a real sense of that.
You could then say like obviously Jimin with his like pink hair. And he's like, obviously he's the one that's like wandering around with his shoes like a little beacon of hope almost.
Aww.
It's the best you're going to get out of me, I think.
That's fine. That's fine. Another reason is delaying Spring Day, because I knew. But yeah.
Please don't have the donut to come to cheer me up.
That's true. Food will always get there. There's lots of reference in there to Snowpiercer, because obviously that's the train and the cultural divide between poverty and whatnot on that train. But there's also I can't remember how the two are linked, but there's also lots of references to the passing away of lots of children and people from a ferry disaster in Seoul. And so that was the shoes and all of the piles of clothes and everything. And it was them having a group of friends having survivor's guilt and then celebrating their birthdays, not knowing that, feeling guilty.
I told you it was really
but nobody really wanted to acknowledge that disaster it's almost like, because something goes wrong and obviously it's sad and it's a national tragedy, but then it's like, well, how can we honour this without ignoring it? Don't just brush it, don't just forget them because it makes everyone sad. How can we honour them in like a really nice way? And so they were sort of putting their mourning into this song and into this video by honouring those people that had died, which I think is really lovely. So there's lots of things in that, but DK
to watch these stupid hardship videos.
It's part of their journey.
Do you know what? No.
But you know they're okay now.
I don't care.
It's just the journey.
Do you know what? I'm fine with being like a half army. I don't have to watch the sad things. I'm fine.
Harmy.
You're not a
harmy. I'm going to be a harming. It's fine.
I'm not a half army.
We're going to watch the BTS Spring Day MV Explained by Bulletproof Vibes. It seems to be a popular one from what's coming up on YouTube. So we'll watch that.
It's giving me goosebumps already.
You see how the media didn't report it, so they were like, we're going to honour them by doing this video. Yeah, so they stayed in place because it's what they were told to do. That's so weird.
They've taken away one bit of like happiness from the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good video.
Yeah.
Very well done. I've watched that one, and I've watched the DKDKTV guys chatting about it, but I couldn't remember which one was which. But yeah, very well, very good explanation. Like, do you know what I mean? Lots of all the references and all the history and all the artistic stuff that they took. And that's what I mean. I think it's so brave of them to do that, which in and of itself was quite rebellious, to acknowledge the disaster that they felt the government wasn't doing in honour enough of the dead that they deserved.
To acknowledge it in a way of remembering, but to acknowledge the way the government has gone about things.
The injustice, they literally call it out, like, in a very artistic way.
Brave.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. I can't explain it as good as that. That's nice, but yeah. But again, like I said, on face value, it's a song and an experience of itself. But then if you look at the deeper meanings, it's that.
I have to say, I wouldn't watch the MV the same way again.
No, that's what I mean. If you watch it now, you'll see it.
To be honest, it always makes me think, I don't know that I want to watch the MV
No, I don't
again
want to watch it again.
No.
No,
And that's okay.
I don't
because
think I can ever watch it again. I need to hear the song. I mean, you have to watch it to edit it, so good luck.
But you will get to a point where you can enjoy it because it's a beautiful song. And like I said, there's live performances where they've got beautiful choreography, and so as a standalone song and performance, you will get to enjoy it again.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe the song wasn't written about that, maybe. But the MV, they went with...
Yeah, well, it was written by RM Sugar, J-Hope, and some other people as well as Hitman Bang. But I can see how... Do you know how I said to you, like, RM's always going to art museums and he's always getting inspiration from that? I think that there was so much in there that he would have said, like, let's add this, let's include this. So I just think that's really... I imagine that they probably... And again, apologies, I don't know the actual factual timeline, but I imagine they had that song in their discography ready to go, but then when it came around to filming the MV, maybe they had a different opinion of what they were going to do.
The disaster was exactly 3 years to the day that video
was released.
It
was released, so that's what I mean, because they planned their release dates.
I immediately did think I need to find out more about the ferry disaster, because what hit me was the students told to stay where they were whilst the crew evacuated.
Yeah.
And that was immediately, someone better got prosecuted here.
Yeah.
But it's like the stuff that happens here, like, you know.
And do you know what?
Stay in your flat.
There was a lot in there that, from a personal point of view of what can I connect it to, that, not that I've experienced, but that I know of, and it was Hillsborough. Because especially when you've got the "You'll Never Walk Alone" going on in there, that immediately references me to Liverpool anyway. But the idea of governments and media blaming
the people,
and, you know, authorities telling people to do one thing whilst not actually looking at what's happening,
and lack of accountability afterwards.
No justice.
And for me, it was a little bit like, and I don't know enough about it to factually say this is, but it makes me think Hillsborough it's almost like Titanic. Not one thing went wrong, but many things went wrong.
Yeah, the little thing.
Exactly. And so that's just so, you know what I mean? Like, if a ferry went down, fine, but if you didn't have told people to stay where they are, that more would have survived, and things like that. So it's never kind of just necessarily one thing, but it's a build-up of many, many failings, and it's just crap. But it's usually... There's a saying, isn't it? The cover-up is worse than the crime, and it's usually the way people behave afterwards which makes it worse. Because I think Snowpiercer, it was funny, we were talking earlier, weren't we, about zombie movies, but how the survivors turn on each other, and I think that that's so interesting about Snowpiercer as well, is how it's talking about, effectively it's a snapshot, it's a petri dish of the world, of societies, and how people treat each other, of the haves and the have-nots, and it's just so interesting. And again, for them to do that, which they have no reason to do as artists and idols and whatnot, they didn't have to do that in a video, but it's very brave of them to do that. And it shows that they wanted to stand for something. So again, even though it's such a sad experience, I think as BTS, I think that's, for me personally, that's something I really respect of them, of knowing that they created that and they helped, you know, all of their team and everything. And I just think, that's cool.
Well, they've got people over the other side of the world talking about it and feeling for those people. So
that's it. They've done a better job than what the government cover-up did.
And I also think it's interesting that, now I'm someone who, I do watch documentaries about disasters and ferry disasters, because a lot of with that I was thinking of the Estonia. I watched a documentary on that and things like that, and I thought, I've not heard of this one. Why? Why haven't I heard of this?
Yeah.
I don't do very well with like big disaster, especially natural disaster things.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I struggle with ferry ones, even though I do watch them, because I'm not a strong swimmer.
Oh, so for you,
It's my worst
gives you
nightmare.
that
It's why you
panic.
don't get me on boats.
But like you say, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's you don't want to forget, but at the same time, remembering is painful. So.
And I also think there's that human nature of watching, like I do these documentaries. It's almost like, yes, these are disasters and accidents, but you almost watch them with a, how can we avoid this? I need to understand it.
Yeah.
Was there something that someone did that, like,
Yeah.
you have to learn from these things.
Well, it's human nature, isn't it, to try and understand why and how, even though there can be no explanation for some things, it just happens.
And
you
that's
just
when
need
it's the
to,
worst, isn't it?
Yeah.
When there isn't a reason.
But that's why it's so rude when people do cover-ups, because you're like, this is not even giving respect to what the dead went through, so that you're giving the opportunity to learn from their tragedy. You know what I mean? But you're just covering it up like, no, everything's fine. You're like, that's disrespectful that you're not even willing to look at what went wrong. So, and put changes in place. But yeah. So,
Arms are really hard. And that's us here years later. Can you imagine the survivors watching that? I imagine it must be a mix of like a refresh of grief, but also like some gratitude that it's been talked about.
I'd hope that they'd be glad of that.
Almost
that
BTS showing we haven't forgotten, we care.
Yeah.
I'd love to
And
know.
that rebellion.
I'd love to know whether they like spoke to any of them or what its reception was.
Yeah. And so that's why it's amazing in a way when you see people doing rebellion in their own ways, making an MV, which they knew at that point, 2017, that was when they were starting. That year they started to win all of their big Artist of the Year awards, end of 2016. So they had such a stage, such a platform to spread that message at that time.
What's
So that's
interesting
good.
now, though, is that they now have a worldwide audience, and they've done things with the UN, with the government. So going forward, they could be the people pushing things, because they are in a position of power to some extent.
Yeah. Well, that's what people say.
It's not
change.
not like the president of Korea can say, I don't want BTS here anymore because they're asking questions about stuff I don't want to talk about. He can't do that because...
Yeah. Well, as they say, isn't it? It's the first step is speaking up, really, because speaking up is free, as it were, free. And again, I understand there could be consequences, but...
And getting into a position where you're heard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they had a global stage, so I really respect that they did that. Because they didn't have to make that MV. They could have made an MV about heartbreak in a different way. Do you know what I mean? But they didn't. They chose to do that, and that's very bold. Oh, yeah. But you will, I promise, you will enjoy that song again as a standalone song because it's got choreography, there's live performances, and it's lovely. Yeah. And it touches more on modern dance as well.
A lot to digest, I think. And I don't think just watching it once and just like one little bit of conversation is enough to like digest and process through it all. So I'm sure there's bits that we've like missed, or when we look back and like we always talk about things like a lot later.
But you can see why that's a significant in their discography and why it's a big one. That was one of the big ones, as it were, that I didn't want to do too soon or for anyone to miss. But I also knew it was going to hit, so...
For the first time, I start to think that actually Jenny might not be Mira. Or Mira might not be Jenny. But then she could have thrown an absolute curveball, and this is why I said, I just don't trust you. Who knows?
Never mind. Thanks, Mira.
Good. Okay. Oh, that was a lot for the first video of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, okay.
And
I was like, come on, rip the band-aid off, let's do it, because it's a beautiful song.
We've got J-Hope next, so we'll be alright, won't we?
Yeah, we need some sugar. I mean, like, food.
Yeah.
yeah, of course that's what you meant.
Do you know what? It got to the point where I just thought, I was like, I might just...
So that was BTS Spring Day and the MV Explained. So thanks for watching, and once Erin's recovered, we'll film more and see you on the next one. Bye.